Welcome to another Patron-sponsored video. You can get one of these by pledging to me $15 or more on Patreon. This video again is requested by Jacob Bilo, and it's about Baroness Schraeder. Basically, he wanted me to do that character analysis of Baroness Schraeder from Sound of Music that I've been promising, but haven't materialized. Basically, I'd promised to make this video, but I realistically probably wasn't going to, unless I felt some strong, determination to do it or something like that. YouTube doesn't like irrelevant things, and Baroness Schraeder from The Sound of Music isn't the most current thing or most talked about thing at the moment. And she probably will never get her time, so thank you very much for requesting I talk about her here. So to set the scene for what I like so much about her, think about women in media. Specifically, think about women in love in media. What does a woman do when she thinks another woman is threatening to take her lover from her? Basically get incredibly jealous and do everything she can to stop it from happening. Often it comes in the form of sabotage or somehow turning him against her rival. And that kind of ends up being all there is to that woman. It's so played out that I could think of a ton of women like this, to the point where I see it coming everywhere in all the media that I watch, just waiting for it to happen. I mean, it's in one of my favorite stories ever. It's the one defining characteristic that people think about with Tinkerbell, except for now that she's got her own franchise, so she's kind of moved away from that. But that's because she's been given more to do in recent times than before her film series started up. And someone like Baroness Schraeder is poised for this. She has been acquainted with Captain Von Trapp for a long time now. We're not sure how long, but long enough to where he makes frequent visits to Vienna to see her and is comfortable enough bringing her up to the house to meet the children. Not only that, but is serious enough that he's considering marrying her. So someone like Baroness Schraeder has every reason to be afraid of someone like Maria, someone who she sees Captain Von Trapp becoming infatuated with, growing more attached to. In stories, the last thing an unmarried woman needs is another unmarried woman becoming friendly with their beau. And true, while Baroness Schraeder does view Maria as a problem, a hindrance to her eventual marriage to the captain, she doesn't really do anything to stop it. There's a coldness to her in response to Maria and any mention of her, but she doesn't do anything. She doesn't try to sabotage her or anything. The only thing she does is in the movie play on Maria's concern about basically not being nun enough, underlying the fact that Maria probably has feelings for Captain Von Trapp, which are very, very inappropriate for someone who's looking to take the vows of chastity, poverty, and devotion to God. But again, that was already blooming in Maria. It wasn't anything from Baroness Schraeder that created it. She was just taking advantage of what she was given. And that's really the character of Baroness Schraeder. She's a woman in a man's world, so she knows that she's not allotted very much power. So whatever power she does get, she needs to hold on to and use wisely. There's a reason why she, and not a man, is now the CEO of her dead husband's company. She knows how to fight for her keep in a world that would rather her take on a very different role. And that also explains why when talks of Germany invading Austria come about, she views it in a less idealistic and more of a cynical, well, I'll just roll over type way. The best you can do for yourself is to look out for yourself. Look out for number one. So if the Nazis invade, just play friends and wait for history to kick them out. That way, even though she doesn't support them and would rather them not be there, until they're gone, she won't suffer because of it. Her main goal is to look out for herself, and if that includes playing nice with Nazis, then so be it, because idealism isn't really something that she thinks is sustainable. To her, it's not realistic. So instead of trying to make what she thinks should happen in reality, she'll take what she's given and make the best of it. Exactly like when she finds that she and Captain Von Trapp just can't do it. They're just not good for each other. Now, it's for different reasons in the musical than in the movie, but it's very much of the same flavor. In the musical, she understands that she and Captain Von Trapp are two very different people. He's an idealist and she considers herself a realist. And so how she would handle a situation like the Nazis invading, that would put, a distance between her and the guy she likes. And if their love can't survive an ideological disagreement, then it's not really worth getting married, because they probably won't last that long anyways. And then in the movie, she saw how distant Captain Von Trapp was with her, but how he seemed to light up and become alive again when Maria came back. Even as she talked about their wedding and honeymoon and plans that she had for them, he just seemed disinterested. It was clear that his mind was somewhere else. And so playing the newlyweds or the soon-to-be weds, that would only last for a certain amount of time, but even then, it would just be make-believe. It became clear to her that no matter what, he'll always be thinking of Maria. And so what'd Baroness Schraeder do? She said, okay, picked her pride up off the floor, and left the musical. She knows when to admit defeat, especially when it benefits her most to just give up. She understands that there was nothing to be gained from trying to force a union between her and Captain Von Trapp after those points. And while I'm sure she does probably resent Maria at least a little bit for coming in between her and Captain Von Trapp, I'm sure she understands that it's for the best as well. I mean, especially with how gracefully she accepts defeat in this matter. Yeah, she's hurt, but she doesn't go into, like, freak out woman scorned mode, like, burn all bridges, if I can't have them, no one can. She's still looking out for number one, and she knows that she can get another guy if she wanted to. I mean, she's still pretty young, and she's also a very wealthy woman. There's just so much depth to her where you don't expect it. You would expect someone in Baroness Schraeder's role to be like all the other women, like, rival characters. Basically acting as the villain to the main girl and having no real redeeming qualities because we're supposed to hate her. We're supposed to root for main girl and main guy to get together because that's just what makes sense. Kind of like what they do with, like, Amber and Hairspray. You're just expected to hate the character of Baroness Schraeder because she's supposed to fill that role in the story. And technically, while she's a love rival between the main guy and main girl getting together, she's still very likable. She knows when to step back when she's been defeated because it won't help her to do otherwise. I'm just so excited to see a character like her portrayed in media because, unfortunately, it's pretty rare. Oftentimes, women end up cast in very specific roles even till this day. And unfortunately, one of those few roles open to women is the evil love rival. And part of the reasons why I'm fascinated by Baroness Schraeder and The Sound of Music is that this seems to be a little bit of a trend with Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals. Now, I haven't seen all of them, so I can't really say, but there's Baroness Schraeder and then Lady Jian. Foreign names, and I'm an English speaker, so I could barely even speak English well. But basically, she's the main wife in The King and I. I expected her to be the main love rival to Anna and the King. Like, it would turn into a story of her feeling threatened, but no, she plays a very supportive role. Actually, she's the King's advocate when Anna thinks he's just an utter monster. It's just so strange because when you're used to these character archetypes, you see them everywhere and you expect them, but it's satisfying when they don't come to light. So yeah, my interest in Baroness Schraeder kind of comes down to, one, she's a character I don't get to see often, and then two, she's just an interestingly developed character. She's definitely someone who makes you question, like, the role of idealism and how realistic it is. And also kind of reminds you that evil people aren't necessarily the ones that allow evil people to come to power. Thank you very much for consuming this video. Thank you very much, Jacob Bielo, for commissioning it, and until next time.